and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be reviewing a book I've read recently called The Secret Lives of Colour by Kassia St. Clair. And also in the second video I'm going to be reviewing a type of therapy that I've been trying out lately called Emotional Freedom Technique, EFT. So in the first video then, The Secret Lives of Colour. This is a book that I got recently. I bought myself this book off Amazon, and it's by Kassia St. Clair. I'll put a link below. The Secret Lives of Colour tells the unusual stories of the 75 most fascinating shades, dyes and hues. From blonde to ginger, the brown that changed the way battles were fought to the white that protected against the plague. Picasso's blue period to the charcoal on the cave walls at Lascaux, probably not pronouncing that correctly, acid yellow to Kelly green, and from scarlet women to imperial purple, these surprising stories run like a bright thread throughout history. In this book, Kassia St. Clair has turned her lifelong obsession with colours and where they come from, whether Van Gogh's chrome yellow, sunflowers, or Punk's fluorescent pink, whether Van Gogh's chrome yellow sunflowers or Punk's fluorescent pink into a unique study of human civilization. Across fashion and politics, art and war, The Secret Lives of Colour tells the vivid story of our culture. So that's the book I read. Okay, so I'll review it now. Right, well, first of all, now I really love colour. I love colour. When people asked me what my favourite colour was as a child, I would say purple. However, I'm not sure if purple actually is my favourite colour, or whether I just said this without fully thinking things through. I also like strong pinks and greens, but my preference changes with mood. Blue has grown on me as I've grown older. I read this book, The Secret Lives of Colour, because I wanted to find out more about the backstory behind each colour. On page 28, there's a quote from Goethe, the author Goethe, in 1810. He said that savage nations, uneducated people, and children have a great predilection for vivid colours. Am I any of those? Does that apply to me? Because I like vivid colours. It strikes me as a very odd thing to say. For I am not a child, I am very educated, and I love bold colours. But the book explains that historically the Western world has hated colour, for colour was seen as sinful. Protestants favoured intellectual simplicity, and so they adorned everything with black and white, and bright colours were removed from churches. Sumptuary laws, that's laws that limit private expenditure on personal items, were in place from the mid-12th century, and these enforced social boundaries through the use of colour. Peasants had to wear dull colours, like dull earthy colours, while bright colours could only be worn by the wealthy elite. The book is full of colour facts, and I won't have time to list them all, so I will now just outline the facts that I found most interesting. I love facts. Firstly, pink, one of my favourite colours, was historically seen as the more decided and stronger colour. Therefore, as a faded red, it was originally reserved for men. Get that? For men. Pink was a masculine colour. That just shows how arbitrary this all is. You know, this sense that colour signifies femininity or masculinity. It's just a construct. Blue, on the other hand, became associated with the Virgin Mary and was seen as a gentle, feminine colour. Pink, as a word to describe pale reds, did not even exist until the late 17th century. Surprisingly, fuchsia was voted one of the 3 least popular colours in Britain in 1998. I love that colour. Let me know in the box below if you like fuchsia. I'd be interested to know. It's actually one of my favourite shades of pink. Purple, moving on to purple now. Purple used to be the most expensive colour of all. It was associated with rulers and excess. If you were born into purple, you were born into royalty. And by analogy, purple prose was coined by the Roman poet Horace in 18 BC to describe overly elaborate and showy writing. Originally, purple dye came from a shellfish native to the Mediterranean. This dark shade of purple was called Tyrian purple. Is it in here? Let's see. Where is Tyrian purple? Yes, Tyrian purple. If I can find it, I might not be able to. Where is it? That's blue, mauve, magenta. Oh yes, here it is. I have found it. I have found it indeed. Tyrian purple. So that's the sort of colour, if we can see there, that Tyrian purple is. That's Tyrian purple. Tyrian purple. So it's a dark shade of purple, and the process of making this purple was very smelly. The glands of the shellfish released a clear liquid which sunlight would eventually turn dark purple. The liquid was placed in a vat of stale urine and fermented before the cloth was added, so that the colour would then stick to the cloth. The dye smelled of rotting sea snails and urine, and this... Sorry. That's just gross. And this explains why ancient dye works were on the outskirts of town. So I guess, you know, purple, favoured by the rich and wealthy, but by God it stank when it was made. So I guess purple derived from Tyre, which is in modern day Lebanon. Because making a dye was so labour intensive, it was of course very expensive. Now, moving on to another shade of purple now. One word I love, just because of the way it sounds, is heliotrope. I love that word, just because of the way it rolls off the tongue. Heliotrope. Heliotrope is a plant that has fragrant light purple or blue flowers used in perfume. The word derives from the Greek helios, which means sun, and I might not be pronouncing this correctly, but I'll give it a go, tropeos, which means to turn, because its purple flowers were supposed to turn and follow the sun as it moved across the sky. Synthetic purple was first created in the late 19th century, beginning with mauve, which was accidentally created by William Perkin from black coal tar as he was trying to find a cure for malaria. Purple then became very fashionable. Moving on to blue now, my favourite shade is probably cerulean, which translates as heavenly, infinite blue. I love the word cerulean. The Hindu gods Krishna and Shiva have skin colour that is the colour of the sky, which symbolises infinity, and a related word is azure. Azure, like a bright blue, cloudless sky, could be described rather poetically as an azure sky. Jumping ahead now to the brown category, mummy brown has a rather unsavoury past. Now, bitumen is a black sticky substance that is used nowadays in making roads. It is also found in ancient mummies, and get this, a very interesting fact, I love facts, a very interesting fact is that mummy gets its name from the Persian word for bitumen, which was mum. Where, sepia, umber. Here it is, mummy. So it's that sort of colour. Now, bitumen and mummies had been used as medicine from the 1st century AD. Ground up mummy was mixed into drinks and toothpaste. If mummy could not be found, replacements were often made from the bodies of slaves and criminals. The dark brown powder was also used in painters' palettes. So, kind of cannibalism, really. Rather disgusting when you think about it. So yes, this is a really interesting book. As I say, well worth a read. There are many more facts within its pages, including all the shades of white, green, red and black, which I won't have time to go into now. But as I say, if you want to find out more, really do check this book out. It can be bought off Amazon, or you might be able to find it at your nearby library, and I highly recommend it. So thank you for watching. I'm now going to be moving on to video number 2 on the emotional freedom technique.